Hop 2 and spit on that janky monkey. Right.
Hey, now.
That jangly steampunk
Is that
monkey.
our shanty?
Is he a sex bot, actually? He's a sex bot.
Spit on the junkie monkey.
Well, there is a seduce mission. I put it. Joking. I didn't actually. But anyway, 1,000 years ago, Duskfall emerged, a settlement with naught but hope and vision for its future. Its people found creatures amongst the Void Sea, a black sea full of beasts and horrors. Brave city dwellers ventured out on whim of adventure and found themselves colossal creatures, which they in turn harvested for their viscera, siphoning it off into great refineries, funneling it into the very fuel that powers Duskfall and its neighboring islands, making all involved rich and powerful. At the height of this power stands the Leviathan Hunters, those who are brave or foolish enough to make this endeavor, to harvest the god's own flesh, to listen and sing the Leviathan Song.
Nice.
Oh,
How do they do that? Do they roll? They roll sixes, right?
oh,
That's what they
Only
do.
crits. Only crits.
They just roll sixes all the time, and then they hunt the Leviathans.
The suckers are at the bottom of the sea. The suckers with those fixed dice. Lovely. So, let me get the music going. Right.
Go on, Mikey, do your Moana soundtrack.
away, away.
So, get right into it. It's a dark, cold eve on the day of Moontide, which is the last day of the month in Duskfall. The moonlit docks around you reveal trade ships running goods in and out of the city. You feel the wind biting as it blows across the North Hook Channel from White Crown, illuminated by the high rises, towering over the rest of the city with the glittering towers dotted on the horizon. Between you and White Crown lies the maiden vessel of House Cyrene, she who dances on the stars. An ironclad electroplasm-powered Leviathan hunting vessel, a state-of-the-art ship which bears the marks of many a voyage, lies waiting in the harbour, ready for you and the rest of the crew to embark. And now, over to whoever would like to introduce their character first.
Go on, Olly.
Go on, Olly.
Wait, so we are approaching the ship?
Yes, so you're in queue with the rest of hundreds of crewmen, and you're together already.
And is that
You're
one
next to
zone?
each other. There's no tornadoes, goddammit! Get your
Wait, so
tornado out of here.
you want us all on a big boat?
You're lining up on the pier with the rest of the crewmen ready to climb aboard the ship. You're kind of being checked in, so to say.
I think we need a map for this. I don't understand.
Oh,
You
Can't
can
picture
draw
it.
one up.
Can't picture
these
it.
new players, they just no imagination.
Draw me that map. Alright. Okay, I don't know how... Lawrie, can you make sure that everyone can see my character? I think if you click on it and say, show to players.
Yes. Bio and info do I do?
I guess.
And then show to players. Everyone see that?
Are you Myre Crowe?
Yes.
Yeah, the fifth Beatle.
I've seen that guy somewhere before.
AKA
TV's Ben Winshaw.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah. Not famous enough that I knew who his name was, but I was like, that guy. Yeah, so you see this young, pale, hunched over figure, and you see him his eye dart around as he walks towards the ship, kind of focusing forward but looking at everything and nothing in his peripherals. And maybe as a sailor goes past, he kind of jerks his head and kind of moves back like this. And then as the sailor looks at him and snarls at him, he kind of offers a pitiful kind of smile, a sort of apology. And you see his sort of long, his wet-looking fingers as he kind of strokes his hands in a nervous sort of way. And this is Myre Crowe. Here's a slide. And let's see, what were my abilities again? I've forgotten. I have, like, looking into a mirror. I can always tell when someone is lying to me because I'm a sneaky little snake. And I have subterfuge, which means I can expend special armor to resist a consequence from suspicion or persuasion. And then in terms of abilities, I've got 2 in study, 1 in survey, 2 in prowl, and then 1 in attune, command, consort, and 2 in sway.
Nice.
And he's from Scotland, so he's kind of, probably 3rd generation Scotlander or 2nd generation Scotlander, bit of an underclass. And I haven't thought of why he wants to be on a Leviathan ship, but it's probably because it's the only way to make a half decent living.
Brilliant. Tasty. So a bit of an all-arounder.
Yeah, he doesn't really have any talents apart from being slimy.
Slippery as.
Yeah.
Well, he will fit greatly amongst the rest of the crew then, as they all are slimy, wretch bastards. Who's next?
About 10 places behind Myre Crowe is a tall, hooded character, looking quietly kind of confident, very still, very kind of steady on her feet. This is Tiet Cahn. She has quite an interesting backstory. This is going to come as a shock to you guys, but actually she's actually a vampire. But it's not known to anyone yet. Obviously, like she's not obvious. She's quite recently turned. She's not like got many visual signs, like apart from maybe a little gaunt in the eyes, maybe a little kind of something not seem quite there. But it's not an obvious like classic giant fangs and winged ears. She was recently turned to her existence as an eternal creature of darkness. She's actually an ex-sea captain and used to command a ship called the Scotland's Mercy, that was a very prolific vessel in its day, and was a very successful captain until one day during a routine cargo drop, their crew was ambushed by the dock workers on the board, and Tiet was mercilessly thrown into the ocean by one of the better dressed dockers in the gang, as she sunk and drowned to her doom in the cold icy waters, and took many days to drown as her body was kind of taken over by furious sea spirits and possessed and kind of warped into this kind of vampiric creature. So she's quite recently turned and kind of angry and scared and twisted and kind of living now to eternally satiate her bloodlust. She is an interesting character, kind of on edge, but confident. She's on the boat mainly because she's kind of trying to fulfill that bloodlust, and she's kind of heard of the power of Leviathan blood, and just thinking if she can kind of quell this everlasting hunger by feasting on the blood that they're going to harvest. So she's kind of really only there to steal and gather, and not really there to do a job as such, but trying to fit in. So she's kind of sneaking aboard, really. She's not meant to be here, but she's coming on board. She has primarily... So as a vampire, she's like massively traumatized. She's undead. That means she's completely traumatized. Takes harm. You need to feed to recover. I don't know if we'll get downtime, so we'll see how that goes. But she has terrible power, so can perform feats of superhuman strength or speed, and has arcane sight, so can sense beyond human limits and hear thoughts and feelings of other creatures. But as part of being a vampire, she has certain strictures, so she is forbidden and cannot enter a private residence without permission from the owner. So I don't know if the Leviathan ship actually count as private residence. I suppose within the ship there'll be more rooms, I suppose, or like berths that would count more as private residence. I don't know. But also, she has the stricture of being bestial, so if she suffers physical harm or overindulges her vice, her body will twist into horrific bestial form until she next feeds. So that will kind of give the game away. If she was to be harmed, it will kind of be pretty clear she's a vampire. So she's kind of got to play it kind of safe. Specialties lie in hunting, prowling, and commanding, with a bit of finesse, prowl, and sway in the back of the net there.
Nice. So Tiet Cahn, the captain swallowed by the sea she once sailed on.
Yeah, murdered by a very finely dressed man.
Blimey.
And where does she start bringing in your traditional comic relief?
She doesn't.
This is like molasses.
A bit molasses. A bit less intense.
It's yeah,
Comic
you're right.
relief,
It
you say?
sounds less intense.
It is less intense.
I hear a request for some comic relief. So I think Jangles probably came with Tiet Cahn.
Oh god.
I think Jangles was on Tiet Khan's ship, and not senior enough to actually have known her at that time. Probably was his master was one of the members of Tiet Khan's crew. But they all got killed. But Jangles can't get killed, or certainly couldn't get killed by drowning because he's metal. So I think Jangles followed Tiet Cahn out of the wreckage, bit waterlogged, and then caught her up, and has been following him ever since because he's following her ever since because she's the closest thing he's got to a master now.
So she's a bit just like, stop following me.
She could very easily just be annoyed. I think they should both be annoyed because Jangles is annoyed at everything and hates his job and his life.
Great,
Well,
love
on
this.
life.
Yeah, she's not happy with her on life
um,
either. So this is a good partnership.
Never asked for him to follow her, but yeah.
Great.
Jangles, also known as the Bastard, just because that's what everybody called him on ship. He thinks the last sort of vestige of a memory he's got, he thinks he might have been a ship's doctor when he were alive, but he don't know when that was. And for as long as he can remember, he's been a dog's body on deck in Leviathans, dragging crates, swinging around, fixing ropes, doing whatever the bastards tell him to. And now he's working for this fancy lady. And I guess it'll be for me and Mikey to decide what my three functions are. The choices are to guard, to destroy, to discover, to acquire, to labour at, and then just that which my master commands. So I think the last
separate one. That's just a separate one, just to what your master commands. Is like
So I think I'll definitely pick that one because
that's nice and easy.
There's some stuff that gives us some flexibility as to basically whatever Tiet Cahn decides my character needs to do. I must do it. That's fun, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if her like I said, her kind of mission is to kind of acquire and loot Leviathan blood. So acquiring could be quite a good one, or anything like that.
So go on, what my commands?
Should Tiet go bestial and require her to feed and lose control of herself? God knows what she'll get Jangles doing.
Well, exactly. He's not seen that side of her yet. She's been very careful. She's not been in a confrontation yet. So
I think potentially guard. I mean, the skills I've taken. I've got like a pip in, like one pip in survey, tinker, and attune, but I've put most into finesse and skirmish.
Yeah,
So
guard's always good. Yeah,
guard makes sense.
I like that because she definitely doesn't want to get injured. So
yeah, there turns out to be any kind of like uprisings on deck.
Nice.
Jangles can be at your side.
Nice.
And then it's just the rest of the things about hull is quite interesting. So instead of taking stress, you take drain, which is like you lose some of your electroplasmic power. You can also spend your, like as normal, you can spend stress to do stuff, but all the abilities are about basically expending your electroplasmic power to make stuff happen. But I've taken the standard one is automaton, which is the one if you pick your functions, you may be rebuilt if damaged or destroyed. If If your soul vessel is shattered, you are freed from servitude and become a ghost.
Right.
But I've taken the overcharge ability, which is you take 1 drain to perform a feat of extreme strength or speed, run faster than a horse, rend metal with bare hands, etc.
We can fucking just poke and super stand up. I'll go vampire mode. You go super whole mode. We're gonna wreck shit
I
up.
just really think it'd be funny to just tear people apart as a crazy robot monkey. I think that'd be fun.
I assume did you choose a small frame? Is it quite a small monkey, or do you choose like a medium frame? Did you go for a small frame?
Medium frame. So the small is cat size.
Yeah, it's quite
which
small,
I
isn't
did
it?
consider because you can be like a spider.
Yeah,
There's the standard abilities for the cat sized one is spider climb,
that's cool.
which I thought was quite funny. But no, I'm medium sized.
Nice.
Yes, Jangles, the sea monkey assistant to Tiet Cahn.
Sea monkey.
Rig monkey. I like it.
So yeah, it's definitely contentious because she's trying to be quite sneaky, but she's not been able to shake this monkey. That's
Yeah, that's
the
not
monkey.
gonna happen.
She wanted to get the monkey off her back for a while. So,
Hey.
hey.
Nice. Jangles, welcome aboard.
Jingle jangle.
Jingle jangle. And
Whoever you
Phinneas, last but not least.
Yes. You see a shifty and certainly somewhat weathered by the world man approaching the pier. He has a bushy ginger mustache, and the look about him of someone who wants you to know that he has finery, but not in the most audacious way. But you know, you can still very much tell. You can tell that they want to be recognised as a member of society. And you see, this is Phinneas Bowman, a former factory worker labourer sort, who found that he didn't feel this was the life for him. Working a little too hard, not being invited to all the nice things, was not a life that he really felt was for him. But he did find that he was pretty good at getting other people to do stuff for him. And so our pal Phinneas found himself increasingly making his way into slightly better positions in places of influence. Later found that this was a tool set that could perhaps be put to even better use to serve himself rather than others. And now, who knows why he's here today? But he does find himself a sort of fixer for hire in Duskfall. He goes by the nickname Thor, and this is because just once too many times he'd heard himself being described as a thorn in the side of powerful people, and decided to make it his moniker.
Love that.
Nice.
Does it wish Talon?
It does wish Talon. Go on, can you be Talon even though Myre Crowe is not very Talon-esque?
I could be easily an interrogator who gets killed or turn into a demon.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, you're not having Thorn.
Too soon.
You can be Talon. Am I going to have to change my plans and now speak in my Eisenhorn voice?
Did we, Lawrie? Where did we get with us already knowing each other?
It's down for you to decide. I thought it'd be easier for you to know each other already, but if you want to RP getting to know each other, that's also fine. I don't mind that. But I would like you to be, you need each other. That's going to be quite important. For whatever reason, you're watching each other's backs. If you can decide with that being the common ground.
Yeah, because my idea was that we had a couple of voyages together. We were bound by a secret, like we'd all been picked on by some sort of petty officer, and we'd thrown him overboard. And we'd all been complicit of this cone of silence, circle of silence.
Yeah, it's unlikely Tiet would have been with them, but then which also would remove Jangles. So I don't want to kind of just then suddenly takes out half the party.
Maybe it was on your ship.
Why would it remove Jangles?
Well, this has been following me around ever since I became a vampire. So
Yeah, well, so I'm saying we've already been on like a couple of voyages together.
Yeah, I mean, we might have been on a voyage since then.
The Leviathan voyage was more regular voyages. Was our first
Leviathan
Leviathan.
ones.
You've been on a cruise.
Well, it was just the whole set. Was
Oh, yeah.
there's her first chance to get hold of Leviathan blood, so she's already been on Leviathan ship. That kind of takes away a bit of a thing. Is any problem there from my
Are
side?
you no-anding me?
I'm not no-anding you. I'm just a bit stuck in literal.
This is why you don't write a
Setup.
backstory, Michael. In this
Well,
game.
it says to write a backstory.
No, it
Okay,
doesn't.
well,
Where?
in the thing, all characters, whenever you create a character, you always create a backstory. What are you talking about? Don't create a backstory. What kind of DM are you?
Lawrie.
I would.
That. Can I just say, Milo? I think if you take a different ability to weaving the web, because I don't think you'll get a chance to gather info as much, or
I was wondering about that.
although
I'll
I
pick
don't think
something
there'll be engagement rolls either, and I don't want you taking an ability where you won't
Roger,
get
Roger.
much from it. Feel free to take a veteran ability if you want as well.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Michael Peichel also, it says choose a background, not write a backstory.
Well, but when we create our characters for the main game and every game ever we've created. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Well, look, how about
I'm just challenging the notion that you said it says, because that, Michael, was a lie.
when I say it, I mean the general perception of role playing. It perceives that your character has a backstory.
right.
The voices.
We could, can we say they've
The
done
RP voice
like?
in Mickey's head.
Can we say they've done some voyages? They're not necessarily like full of. Maybe they're kind of either training or they're like
Yeah, boot camp.
something similar. They haven't really been on a proper Leviathan ship yet.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
their first. This is all their first entry. That's fine. That's all good.
Yeah,
That
maybe
that
during
keeps
like
things.
the selection process.
Yeah, that's all
Yeah,
good.
Or on a
okay.
smaller vessel that was being tested or under repairs or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, this is the canon
There's
now.
all kinds of like. Can make it work.
Before Leviathan hunters are chosen, before the crew's even allowed on their first voyage, they send out little, like the black ships in 40k, little like tugboats sent out into the void sea. If they come back, they get to become Leviathan hunters and share in the
Ooh.
glory. If
Great.
they don't, they're dead.
That's
Right.
not the purpose of a black ship.
Yeah, whatever.
That was no
Nerd.
ending.
Personally, I
Yeah, yeah.
appreciated Laurie's effort to link
To
40k,
40k for us.
40k lore, even obliquely.
So
Yeah.
you're the white, what do they call them, the white caps, the grunt guardsmen or whatever, and you've offed your captain on that first little training voyage. You've come back, and somehow have hidden that
Yeah.
factor
Um,
quite craftily.
Or at least you think Phinneas is a white cap.
yeah, maybe they just have to test it. They have to test you if you get seasick or not. No
No
point
shit.
going out into the ocean and being like, I feel sick, sir.
Who could have
Okay.
seen this coming?
So we all happy with that?
Yeah, sounds good.
Aye, aye.
Yep.
Lovely. So, as we were, you're all kind of waiting to embark amongst all the other crew lining up. They're kind of checking you in as you go, making sure everyone's here, taking names. Once you are aboard, you kind of, with the rest of the crew, shuffle onto the top deck. The captain assembles the crew on said top deck for their traditional sounding off of the ship's departure. You huddle in where you can find space. Surrounding you are a motley crew of vagabonds, lost souls, fortune finders, and those seeking redemption. For those that will make a Leviathan hunting crew. Ooh. The captain of the ship, flanked by his officers, hails from the bridge overlooking the entire top deck of the ship, commanding the entire crew's attention. Settle down and listen up, for I am your captain, Captain Stavrul Dalmor. My sole intention for this fine beauty of a vessel is to fill it to the brim with visceral gold. With this objective in mind, it is my best interest that we, as the crew of said fine vessel, operate efficiently and ruthlessly. If I happen to catch wind of any mutiny, any wrongdoing on my watch that does not attribute to the seeking and accumulating of vast quantities of Leviathan viscera and the sailing of this fine, beautiful vessel, then I, myself, accompanied by my master butcher, Noggs, will see to it that those forsaken souls will not be making their way back to Duskfall. However, if you do contribute in a healthy manner, then you will be rewarded beyond your wildest dreams. The successful Leviathan hunters amongst us will be made men and women, honored in history, and free to live their wildest dreams. The Emperor bless thee in our voyage. May it be a fruitful one for all of our sakes.
Nice.
That's Captain
many-
Several Delmore.
How many people are there? Like, is he looking for us to have a reaction, or is it like 100?
No, he's kind of from the bridge on a loud hailer, kind of
okay.
speaking across to the entire top deck.
Fine.
So there's probably a few hundred, 200 crew.
It's not like he's like looking at us and we're just like.
There's a spotlight among you guys only.
Yeah.
He's
Jangles
staring you
leans
down.
in close to Tiet Cahn and says, "You better keep your little secret under wraps, then, Captain, aren't you?"
It should be easy enough, Jangles, if you stop prattling on.
Molasses is so back.
Molasses?
She was higher pitched. She was higher pitched.
Just wait until you start jumping around on the ceiling and stabbing people.
Oh yeah, the whole feature I chose was spring leap pistons,
Sick.
which allows me to jump to extreme heights, in brackets several stories, and survive falls without damage.
Nice.
Beautiful.
To be quiet.
Lovely. So, the ship's horn sounds, shaking the ground you're standing on, shaking you to your inner core, followed by gunshots of all sorts of firearms, blunderbuss, pistols, rifles, a cacophony of horn and shot. Following this, the crew around you start singing in tandem, sounding off the departure of the ship. The shanty, the hunter's cant. Goes something little like this. We're off to hunt the biggest fish that anyone did ever see. Is he bigger than a house, my friend? Aye, looks bigger to me. The chanty trails off to an end as you find your way to your quarters. The next day is fairly quiet, but the air is stocked with an anxious patience shared amongst the crew. So, next
Have we been
day,
assigned? Have we assigned roles in the ship yet? Or are we just coming on as just complete?
No,
Wait
so yeah.
to be sorted.
Yeah, that's yeah. So once you're all kind of in the quarters and you've all found your beds and whatnot, you kind of take an early night. It's going to be a long voyage, plenty of danger ahead, and you can tell it's a pretty serious tone. Maybe the odd crewman, the odd old drunken salesman is kind of telling stories of past voyages, trying to scare the newbies. Maybe some fights have already broken out because
We saw a porpoise the
Sailors.
size of your head. It ate my ears.
One time I saw a Leviathan that had a titty the size of a building block.
a three-titted
The first
Leviathan.
Leviathan I ever saw. He was like a human. He just looked just like a human. I used to talk. He used to sing to me. Shut up, Nathan.
God damn it, Nathan. Get your shit together.
Nobody believes these stories.
I once saw a Leviathan that was so deadly that no one on my ship survived. I killed it with my own hands and a chopstick snapped in twain.
Oh shit, not in twain.
No.
This guy's badass.
Not in
Wager those
twain.
hands have never blocked a Leviathan's anus in a swirling gale.
With nothing but my own blubber. Oh.
I hope all the characters join us on in Scum and Villainy as well as our crew.
That guy you mentioned is definitely dying first, Olly. So, the ship is underway. She who dances in the stars released from the docks and is sailing through the void sea. So this
Picturing the scene in Titanic where the ship leaves the dock and it's all like everything's amazing and lovely. And there's the dramatic music and everyone's waving their handkerchiefs and happily smiling.
I would say as well, the departure is delayed because the massive chain gates that you would usually have left from have been demolished by some reckless, stupid, horrible gang. The bastards.
Nice.
Fuckers. So yeah, what you got ahead of you is several days to weeks, depending on how the progress goes, of regular duties before we actually get to the Leviathan. It's down to the dice how long it takes, but we'll see how we go. I might have to speed it up, but we don't know. As you're chilling in your crew quarters, do you guys want to do any like in character chatting while you're just chilling in the crew quarters? Maybe say about, have a bit about how your day's gone or how you're adjusting to the bunks or that kind of thing. There are like there's lots of little gangs in the crew, so there are like, probably gangs from the city who have been kind of condemned to this expedition to pay amends. So there might be, if you got friends or enemies maybe from your past, they may be on the ship. That kind of thing. I'm just gonna pick the next part from my list.
That's all good. Tiet only really has one enemy, the person who killed her desperately on that dock that day. But she's spent most of her time kind of in a corner. One of the obviously adverse effects of her trauma is that she's, despite being a sea captain in this new life, she's not particularly happy with being on the oceans and the sea, obviously. So she's got a bit of a challenge there. So she's very much kind of in a corner, hunched over, kind of very just steady and stern, cloaked and waiting.
In shadows.
Good to the seasickness, is it, Captain?
It's more than that.
You cheeky
Jangles.
monkey.
She ruffles a little leg. No, she's very good. She's so good. She can even resist the urge.
As she tries to ruffle.
She doesn't really ruffle his hair. She's no hair ruffler.
He's also made of metal. He doesn't have hair.
Well, if she had, he would have let out a little bit of electroplasm just to give her a little zap.
Sure. No, she's no contact. She's eyeing the monkey. She's secretly happy to have company as such, but she's still very concerned by being in such close quarters with unknown potential adversaries.
I think
adversaries.
I haven't worked out. Myre probably has worked out, but I haven't worked out who's going to be the biggest person to suck up to between Phinneas and Tiet Cahn.
Yeah.
But I think at this moment with the cool vampire, I think throughout the training, Myre has been like talking to you and like, asking you questions and being like, "Oh yes, you were a captain, were you? Oh, I can imagine that. That must have been very exciting. Oh, you must have been very good at that, Tiet Cahn." Like that.
I was until that fateful day.
She were great, honestly, Mr. Crowe. She were amazing until she got sunk. Yeah, perfect up till then.
Being too modest, I think. You must have been a great captain. I should very much like to have learn as much as I can from you, Tiet Cahn. Oh yes.
You'll learn nothing from me. Sniffling grunt.
Oh, I'm just being humble, that's all. Are you Miss Cahn?
Sure.
Is there a Mr. Cahn back home at all?
Professor Dr. B.A. Ons. Cahn.
Professor Dr. B.A. Ons. It's very Jordan Peterson of you.
TMI, right?
B.A. Ons. A-level.
Is there a Mr. Cahn at home? That tickled me. Oh. Well, as you're as you're, conversing away, there's a knock on your crew quarters, on your door. I imagine you're all like in the same quarters. You've got your bunk beds, 4 bunk beds, and you're kind of chilling, all very basic, all very humble. There's a knock at the door, and a little pointed fella with a little cap peeks his head around the door. He's like a little. I can't do a knock noise, but imagine a knock.
To add.
Hello, sir, marms. It's me, Percy, the officer's first man, messenger. I've been requested to draw you to the steward's office. Yes, he's got some work for you. Right away, please.
Is he lower our rank or the same
He's like
or
the
higher?
he's like the officer's bitch, so he's higher.
Oh, okay.
But he's a sailor rather than a master. That's like the one page of the thing I read. There's the rank structure. It's like you're an officer, or you're an officer, or you're a master, which is basically like a sergeant type thing, or you're a sailor, which is basically most people, or you're chum, which is just like nothing.
Chum for the chum. God.
Chum fill in. Chum are the first ones to go into the water when the Leviathan is spotted, but they're also there on hand to fill in for the sailors' duties as well. So during the actual navigating of the ship of the sea, they will do the sailors' duties, but they're the first ones to go into the water.
But they're
So
not.
they're
not
chum.
actually the bait, are they? There was that was like a sort of an old tale that maybe they might want to be in the bait when things were real bad, but now you tend to like throw some low quality like squid bits and stuff first, right?
Well, you'd know this having been on your training voyage. I'm sure there was some level of tutelage there. You'd know that in history gone by, yes, the chum were used at times for actual bait, but the ships usually carry cattle, or the sailors and chum would go and hunt the Leviathan spawn and use them as bait. Lacking there of cattle or Leviathan spawn adequate enough to summon the Leviathan, then yes, the chum are sacrificed. But, if you come back, you're rich. So it's very, Wild Westy kind of, you're going out pioneering for gold, but you might get shot by some outlaws. That kind of deal. So yes, you're summoned.
We go with the bitch.
We follow the bitch.
So I'd say Percy. Perkins.
No, the multiverse continues.
The voice.
Hooray!
Wait, do the voice. Do the voice. Give me a bit of the voice.
Oh, yes, sir.
Oh,
That's
yes,
Very
sir.
good, sir.
That's all you need
Very
to do.
good, sir. Oh, yes,
you
sir.
liar.
Take you to the
So
steward's office.
Perkins, as actually somewhat between an officer and a master, he's like the officer's messenger. So he's like their first man to do their, admin and whatnot, jumping around, sending messages to who needs it.
Gotcha.
He's
So
like,
he's maybe like a
yes,
really,
sir,
really
moms.
junior cousin of a second cousin of a thing of the like aristocratic officers.
Yeah.
'Cause they're all nobles, aren't they?
Yeah, Perkins is just slided in.
Yeah, don't they have like kids on ships in the old days as well as officers?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's how
Yeah,
they
they're
learn.
like
They learn, right?
teenagers.
Yeah.
But yeah, Perkins, the messenger, is kind of motioning you to follow him to the steward's quarters. As you follow him, you kind of make your way through up to the topper decks, where the kind of all the officers are. They have their fancy crew quarters, their finer dining hall, and all that kind of thing. So you come into an office, kind of papers kind of just jostled everywhere, kind of disorganized, and you come to see a man waiting at his desk, quill in hand, writing some sort of letter. Busybody. And he is a thin geezer. He's got a tailcoat, spectacles, and he's got white gloves on. So very much head butler kind of vibes. And Perkins is like, "Oh yes, sir. Please may I introduce you to Wester Sly, the head steward of the lady, she who dances on the stars. If you just sit down here," and he kind of points to some chairs in front of Wester. He'll be with you momentarily. Perkins vanishes like a mouse. Off he goes. And here you are in the office of Wester Sly, the head steward.
Tiet
he
doesn't
doesn't
sit. She
immediately
goes, stands in a
finds the
corner.
highest accessible point.
He doesn't even notice you. He's just kind of writing away still.
Do we know why we would be here?
So he summoned you for a duty of some sort. That you don't know the you don't know the insides of that though. Don't know the ins and outs of it yet.
Myre slides up to his desk, placing a long-fingered, wet hand on the desk, and
Were they
says,
always wet?
Moist.
There's a great Dickens line which this character's based on, where he describes shaking the hand is like shaking a wet fish in the dark. Grabbing a wet fish in the dark, which is amazing. But yeah, just places his hand gently onto the desk, sort of in the eye line of the steward, just enough that it's in the eye line of the steward. And he says, "Oh, good evening, steward. Very nice to make your acquaintance. Would you like to talk to us about certain duties?"
He stops what he's doing immediately, pointing his head up straight at you, locking eyes, with his quill pointed to the paper. "It's Mr. Sly to you."
"Oh, I apologise, Mr. Sly. I should make sure to call you that in the future. I don't wish to be disrespectful." And I fed my best smile, which doesn't really look like a smile. It's like a widening of the mouth, like Boss Ness.
Very nice.
A big toad.
Well then, you're all here, aren't you? Well, the situation is, I've been chock-a-block with tasks since we've been departed. I've had all hells of the matter to attend to, and I've not gotten around to planning the officers' meal. They require a fine meal, as they expect every evening, and they require entertainment. Well, you know where the officers' quarters are. You know where the dining hall is. I want you to prepare a meal for them, prepare an evening that they won't forget. And if they do forget, it better be because of the booze. He looks down at his paper, continuing writing away.
Quite the brief, Mr. Sly, but if I was just to ask a couple of extra questions, I suppose I don't know the officers too well. I'm not so familiar with the finer things in life, just of yet. But, do you know what kind of entertainment these fine chaps are partial to, or shall we just be dragging Mr. Crowe around with a stick?
I should like that very much, Phinneas Bowman. No. But
I should never like to treat you such, Mr. Crowe, but needs must with the officers and all that.
I used to cook dinners, very humble dinners for me and Mother when I used to live in Duskville. She never used to complain, but I should be able to rustle up something, maybe an humble dish for the officers if they would be debasing themselves to such commoners' food.
I suppose if Mr. Crowe does... Well, I've gone South African. Well, I suppose
Mr.
if
Mr. Crowe.
Bloody prawns! Bloody
I thought that's how it
prawns!
started.
No, it was supposed to be Brummy, and then it got a little bit confused in my head.
I got
and now I've got accent block. Stand by.
I'm so used to it.
If Mr. Crowe cooks up a lovely meal, then I suppose you'll be. Would you be ever so kind as to let us have a few of the officers' stores for ourselves?
Well, we've got full access to the kitchen, and you can rally on any of the crew if you need them for entertainment purposes. Fix a fight, put on a show, anything. Just keep them entertained. He tuts.
Tiet steps forward with a swish of her cloak. An ephemeral energy emanating. I don't know why she has to be so dramatic.
I might introduce the entertainment, says.
You speak too loosely, Phinneas. My skills do not lie within the preparing of base muck for the crew.
Yeah.
I would request that I assist the Master Butcher in the important work on this ship. I believe it is the primary goal of this to fill the vessel with viscera and successful gatherings from the Leviathans. We don't have time to mess around with the humble feedings of the crew.
Well, I think you'll find that it's not just the crew, but the officers. It's the officers' dinner you're preparing. It's a very important deal indeed. Should you muck this up, you'll be off the ship. And so will I. So you better do a darn good job of it.
Indeed.
As you... Behind Wester Sly, you see in his cabinets he's got kind of a short wine kind of storage, and you see amongst these kind of different bottles you've got one which glows actually a faint blue, kind of like a hazy blue color, and it's some obviously some well sought after vintage. Does anyone have a arcane roll, perhaps?
Wrong game.
What do you
Study?
mean?
That's D&D.
Study? June?
Fuck.
You mean the tune?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
have-
come on. That's
Same number of
savage.
syllables, most the same letters.
I have
Come on
Jangles.
now.
I have a point in a tune
Oh, go on then.
for
I thought
reasons
you-
that I
I
haven't
thought you-
revealed.
I thought you meant I got all the fucking rules wrong for a second. That's D&D rules, you nerd.
Yeah, asking players to roll a perception check every 5 seconds. That's D&D in it.
No,
I can roll a tune if you want.
yeah, just to see if you know, like, what's the contents. Or maybe what it is.
Yeah.
Or is there a better way of doing that?
I think maybe like a fortune roll would be better, because otherwise you have to unless there is like a cost of failure, for example, like if the position is
There's not particularly.
consequences,
I'll
or just do
do
a
a-
controlled position or something.
I'll do on a 2 and above. You know what it is. Well, unfortunate. So to you, it's just a bottle of wine, a bottle of mold fungi wine, or what do they have? But it does glow, so you can ascertain that it has some, value.
I'm no expert.
Yeah, lovely stuff. Yeah, so are you happy with your task at hand?
No,
Well,
sounds bloody awful.
it's not quite the thing that we probably signed up for and imagined, but it's probably a damn sight easier than we thought it would be. Putting on a bit of entertainment, and I imagine we'd all look to Mr. Bowman as well to understand what these kind of fancy officer types would actually find interesting and would want to eat.
Well, Tiet's finding it very nervous because she's herself dealing with eternal craving currently, so the idea of preparing food for other mortal creatures would be And the last place she wants to be, she's got
And also doesn't eat, presumably.
exact, and also doesn't eat, doesn't really. And again, it's funny with vampires, much like Hull, she's not really, she's her, but she's not really her. So it's kind of, this vampire ghost doesn't really also understand food. So she's a very confused state. So this is not what she's here for. So she's pretty agitated, even by this very banal task. It's not where she needs to be, and she's in fear of being discovered. She needs to be making moves, or she'll have to feast, or she'll be the one having dinner.
Yeah.
And that won't be entertaining for anyone.
Is this the first score? Is it it's putting on a show score?
I'm not sure if these. I don't think this supplement is set up in a way where you have scores and that kind of thing.
I was just thinking, I was about to say, should we go away and plan? And I thought, wait a minute, this is Blades in the Dark. We don't have to do that.
I wanted to gather information and see what the guard routes were from the creperie, and
Do an
see if we
engagement
can
roll on the...
see if we can get a chef's disguise to.
Yeah. 3 wandering Italian chefs offering their services.
I really wasn't sure if how to run these kind of duties.
No, that's fine. Let's get into it. Let's do it.
The supplement didn't say to run it like a score. It just kind of gives you a table to like roll on, and I've added more to them.
Yeah.
Right.
I think doing a one shot in Blades in the Dark, like, I would, you probably cut out quite a lot of those stages and just kind of vibe it
into it,
I guess.
Yeah, you normally do like a full lap of like gathering information, score, downtime kind of thing. But the interesting thing about Blades is that it's quite hard to hack because it's so set on that loop. Like, unless you're doing scores type things, it's hard to kind of port it to a different sort of system. So, yes.
Well, I was planning on just you describing what you want to do through the, scenes that we go through, and then doing action rolls to cover any obstacles, kind of thing. I don't think these are going to be like huge score size, like not like a whole session or even an hour. They're just like a half hour on each one, kind of thing.
Jangles will leap down off the like bookshelf or whatever that he was on, and sidle up to the side of Tiet Cahn and just kind of murmur to her. Surely, you remember how things were organised on what's on name of our ship here?
Scotland's Glory.
On the Glory.
Scotland's Mercy, sorry.
You remember how things were organised on the Mercy? You must remember some of the recipes for those meals that I know you love.
She was kind of tormented because it's very foggy. Nothing springs to the mind. This isn't what we need to be doing, Jangles. You can be the entertainment. I think they'll find it very amusing to see you prancing and prattling around.
That was also my character's idea, but
stolen it, mate. Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry. I get the XP. I get the XP.
I don't think he'd be brave enough to ask the robot monkey, who could probably throttle him to death, to go and be the entertainment.
An XP to Tiet Cahn.
Thank you.
Good idea.
I was going to say, I don't think, like, not that it's not obvious. I don't think that Phinneas and Myre know necessarily that she's a vampire. They obviously know something's wrong with her, and obviously Jangles knows, but it's definitely more of a, it's not like a secret. It's just like not said, but she's definitely not disclosing them. But obviously to Jangles, she'll obviously let him know that you need to watch out, because I can feel the hunger coming, and if you see me lurching towards some small scraggly crew member, Jangles will be on your back to pull me away and keep them safe. We can't reveal anything just yet. But for now, follow Myre and follow Phinneas, and they'll serve the food. You provide the entertainment, and I'll keep watch.
Wester Sly chips in. What secret?
Sorry. I was sorry. I was speaking very quietly to my monkey. Thank you very much. I was actually having a monkey aside chat. I didn't realise you were listening.
This is my office. Are you still here?
That's my mail.
He starts writing more ferviously.
Yeah.
I don't suppose you'd want to be getting too bogged down in the details. Just discussing how we're going to keep everyone entertained.
Indeed.
Jangles is not happy about being the entertainment, but if
Makes
Tiet
Tiet
Cahn,
very happy.
if Tiet Cahn is directly ordering him to do that,
Yep.
you'll see him like his one of his little mechanical eyes will like grind focus in and then focus out again, and you'll hear like kind of grumbling, metallic grumbling noise, and then it'll just be like, as the captain commands, and then like. I'm picturing a lot of creature vibes from this you know, like he'll just sort of sidle off, ignoring the steward. He's been given an order now from his captain, and he'll fuck off and wander out the door.
Nice. So, do you have a rough plan? Obviously, so you're gonna be. It's a very elaborate dining hall for the officers only. You'll be. Your task is to prepare the food and provide entertainment. So
I think if Tiet Cahn is happy cleaving away the meal, Myre Crowe can kind of supplicate himself with the officers, sort of consort with them, lowercase, maybe uppercase.
Phineas will be happy to help with the preparation of the food, because he plans to
Poison.
Perhaps he brought. Well, not quite. Perhaps he brought some of these things with him, but some light narcotics. A little. He thinks it might be beneficial. Everyone has a particularly good time, and so he busies himself either finding what he has in his supplies or sourcing from, or he'd like to go to source some feel good flavors to add to the meal.
Oh, I've got fine loaded dice or trick cards, so I can go do close-up magic.
nice.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I have a demon bane charm, so I can repel demons.
And you thought this was a silly intro task. Got you.
Yeah, no. Well, the best you can do is be in the prep, hatching away, snaffling any kind of small morsel of anything that's even slightly blood drenched and meaty, to quell her thirst and hunger. And preparing a real pretty awful meal. I'm not gonna lie, it's not great. Again, someone who doesn't really know what food is,
And lace with
or has
narcotics.
forgotten.
What's not to like?
It's just kind of the meat is just all chopped up into bits, and just the veg is kind of roughly shredded, and it's just kind of.
Is it that bit in the menu where the guy has to make the dish?
I only know the only other menu is the scene where she asked to make a cheeseburger. That's all I know.
And the guy who brings her, he's like really into food, and then Ralph Fiennes asks him to make a dish, and he's so beside himself with terror that he completely fucks it.
Yeah, something like that.
and
Less
it's like-
terror, just more just not really knowing or caring what it should be like, and just kind of just
Yeah.
savaging it. It's just kind of like a strewn, sliced, and torn feast of whatever they've got. Potatoes just roughly crunched into chunks and thrown on a plate.
Does that mean
Just
you
gives-
met the butcher, Lawrie? Does that mean he gets to meet the butcher?
Sorry.
Well, the butcher's kind of the butcher is the person dealing with the actual Leviathan meat. It's not food cooking, is it? It's actually butchering the actual.
No, yes, the master butcher is he keeps security on the ship, he keeps law and order, but also he's there as his role for blood tending. So all the viscera that comes from the Leviathan, he's there making sure it's all chopped up and stored
Delicious.
safely.
Yes, that's where Tiet wants to be, not with the.
So he's got two
cooking
different roles there.
But yeah, so Tiet just gives Phinneas these kind of awfully prepared plates of mush and just serve that to them. That'll have to do.
So you move up to the to the kitchen. I suppose you're already there.
Yeah.
The kitchen, for let's just make it easy. The kitchen has two doors, one in, one out to the kind of officers' dining hall. They've got their own kitchen because they're fancy. And let's say, what are we all doing? So, Tiet is in the kitchen with
Phineas, I suppose, from the sound of it.
With
If the other two are entertaining.
and then
These,
Myre and
these
Jangles are
Hobbs
in
induction
the
or what?
Myre and Jangles are in the dining hall waiting to receive the officers. So, as you are, let's say, first to come in is the chief engineer. Before you is a ambiguous hooded fella with a welding mask kind of lifted up, and it's got all kind of runes on it. He's a small, stout geezer. He's got a little purpley parrot on his shoulder. He comes in first. Boop, 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 boop. Kind of juts out a chair and sits down, kind of making himself ready. So where's all this grub then? Grub? The parrot kind of squawks.
It's a good parrot voice.
Yeah.
It'll be arriving momentarily, officer. I didn't catch your name.
Master Engineer Cobb.
Master Engineer Cahn. Our food will be arriving momentarily. I have some card tricks that I could amuse you with, and we also have this entertaining machine as well.
Entertaining machine. As the parrot squawks, a lady, a bony and wiry, slender lady, with many trinkets and runes covering her body, with what skin shows is covered with ritualistic tattoos. She sits down at the table. She introduces herself as Lawrie, the ship's master augur, the one whose kind of job it is to find and track the Leviathan. She is quite important. You have another gentleman walk in. He's a handsome fella, shirt and braces, sharp trousers, combed back pomaded hair. He is the ship's quartermaster. He introduces himself as Holtz Helka. You've got also following that a quite rotund individual, a male coming through, kind of squeezing through the doorway. He's got big old kind of tubes sticking out of his back, connecting to where his lungs are, and this is kind of pulsing. He's kind of got Sparkcraft tubes and kind of a bit steampunky, keeping him going, kind of keeping him walking. As he sits down, you can hear a faint tick-tocking of his bionic heart. And this is the Master Butcher.
What was his name, sorry?
His name is Cross Nogs,
Of course it is.
aka TikTok. And
What trend's he doing today?
Following him, you've got a short woman with a face mask on. And this is the ship's doctor. She's covered a bit in blood and whatnot from the day's work. It's only been one day, but already there's fights breaking out and whatnot amongst the ship's crew. So people to mend. This is Carissa Clement. And then following that, of course, you've already been introduced. Wester Sly. The ship's master steward. The head steward, even.
as all of these many people sit themselves down on the table, Jangles is just kind of like skittering along, just along the table, like through the dishes, not stepping on the dishes, but like quite nimbly, kind of dashing past the dishes and just filling everybody's glasses with whatever mushroom beverage we have on board. Presumably there's some form of wine for the officers.
Definitely wine.
But yeah, I was gonna say I could try and roll a finesse to see if I fuck it up and pour like wine all over people's laps.
Are you climbing across the table or like swinging from the ceiling, or are you doing it more
How
normally?
high is the ceiling?
Should we say 12 foot, 15 foot?
Oh, sick.
Quite
Okay.
high. There's a chandelier, let's say, dropping hanging from the ceiling.
Okay. Then Jangles is definitely just kind of like swinging along from light fitting to light fitting and pouring the wine into glasses from above.
Give me a roll to see how well you pour this wine, as it is quite a dangerous way of doing it. I'm sure you'll impress them there.
So I get controlled or risky?
I'd say controlled.
Okay.
Does that sound about right? There's no like
Consequence of spilling wine on the officers being fine.
okay, risky.
I just say this is something that he can do.
Oh, really?
Like, not to D&D brain it and but like everything has a chance of failure.
True.
But if it's I guess if it's like you really want to impress them as part of the entertainment, if this is like the entertainment role, then maybe
This is part of the entertainment. This is my idea. This
I'm
is
gonna start a clock.
part of the show.
I'll start a clock, and kind of the roles that you do will kind of tick that clock along, and by the end of it, I'll see how impressed they are, see if you've done a good job or not. How about that?
Okay, that sounds great.
That works.
So I'm going to do a risky standard then.
What is that? A crit? Fuck off!
Crit monkey! Crit
Jesus.
monkey!
right. Next duty.
They are entertained.
Go on, Jangles. Describe how you fill these glasses up.
He critically
Yeah, I
Immaculately.
mean, I'm halfway there already describing, I'd say. So Jangles has got like a carafe of wine, and he swings from light fitting to light fitting along this kind of long kind of mid-deck table, and pours the wine into each officer's glass from about 6 foot above, in like a classic sort of coffee influencer gooseneck kettle pouring style, with a beautiful like fluid in each one. Not a drop spilt.
Wonderful.
And like does a little spin in the air as he leaps from light fitting to light fitting.
Excellent. I think at this point you just get a round of applause because they've never seen something like this. This is truly outstanding. And at this point, the door kind of opens, and the captain walks through. Stavros Dalmor. He is a striking man with a thick greatcoat on, a tricorn hat, and a few tentacles coming down his chin.
Oh, come now.
Indeed.
Yes. And what is all this debauchery I've found amongst my officers? Playing around with the monkeys, I see.
That's an ape, sir. Not a monkey. An ape.
Oh, very well. And he takes his seat at the head of the table, kind of pulling it with force, and sitting down with quite a whatever. Bosh.
Gusto.
Yes. So, and where's my meal?
Snap cut to the kitchen.
Smash cut to the kitchen where these hunks of meat are being hastily disguised as real food by Phinneas, who
They're pretty half cooked. They're pretty half cooked. I'm not gonna lie.
butchery,
Yeah.
and has perhaps asked around a little bit to try and figure out what kind of meal the captain likes.
You turn it into a tasting menu, just split it out into like 12 little plates.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, that has given me a good idea.
The ship does have cattle on board, so you would have meats and that kind of thing.
So Phinneas would have, with this in mind, gone to acquire some of all of the different meat that's available, every variety, and having taken the butchery from Tiet, actually just chopped them all into very neat cubes, and placed them
Just smears.
all in like a little row with like little blobs of ectoplasm gel. Yeah, and some Leviathan foam, or at least what he will call Leviathan. In fact, there we go. So he's been doing that, and what he's done is he's acquired from somewhere, perhaps from Myre Crowe, actually, because I've seen that they can actually take this item. But it seems up their streets have some a little bit of trans powder. And he has tactically on each dish added just a little more trans powder to the next cube in the line. Just a little bit. Not this is the goal. The goal, whether he gets it right or not, is not to have them be absolutely cooked, but to be steadily more impressed. And as the captain sits down, he kind of waltzes in with just the captain's plate in hand first time. Good evening, gentlemen. Tonight we have prepared for you a feast of the seas. What you will find is perhaps nothing like what you've seen out here on the ships before, but spent a little bit of time enjoying the culinary delights of Duskfall in my years, and have attempted to prepare you something that will be a growing sensation, a journey across the oceans, and by the end of it, I hope, perhaps with the assistance of the entertainment of good Mr. Crowe, will be quite the culinary delight. Captain, if I may do the honour of serving your dish up first.
Of course. He eyeballs you, tentacles curling like a moustache would on a World War I officer at the end.
He has no idea how to respond to that. I just don't think he's seen a tentacle beard before. So he just nods politely and walks back to the kitchen to go and acquire the rest of the food.
I would say at this point as well that so the captain is somewhat of a celebrity in Duskfall. There's been quite a few prints of him. You'd probably read about him in the paper before, so you might, feel like he's a minor celebrity, or actually quite the big celebrity as far as they go in Duskfall. And yeah, his reputation kind of precedes him as a man who gets things done. A bit of an adventurer. Think of like a pioneer, someone sailing out onto the seas like a Francis Drake figure, or that kind of thing of the day.
Well, I bet he's never had food that was perfectly cubed before.
Oh, there you go. Perfectly. Roll a finesse. How well do you cut the meat? Skirmish that meat.
Gnawed on by a vampire.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's been
just
gnawed into chunks and then painstakingly tidied up. Going,
Don't
Two
want to piss in the
perfect
soup.
little, like pin needle marks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just in the kitchen, just with a big chunk of raw cattle, just gnawing on it. Pretty indifferent to the results of this effort.
when he gets back into the kitchen, I've forgotten your name. Why don't you change your name in the thing? Daba.
Me?
Tiet
Tiet
Cahn.
Cahn.
It's all changed.
Madam Cahn, will you be
Oh,
helping
that's all
getting
right.
some of the food out to the offices, or do you just plan on staying back here and having a little nibble?
Yeah, it's safest for everyone if I just sequester myself in here, satiate myself with this delicious
Great.
meat.
I totally agree. You'd be best off helping me out bringing the food out.
Yeah.
Best for everyone.
Yeah. She makes a calculation that she needs to impress the butcher, so she does begrudgingly grab a small plate of some of the slightly less mangled food and sloshes it around in some kind of presentable, trying to mimic what Phinneas has created as best she can, and takes it out to the master butcher to serve him his food. Although realizing he's the larger man does add extra. With extra meat and veg and potato on there to bring him quite a heaped plate
He's actually
over
vegan.
to. Well, fuck off.
Gonna eat
Goes over
tofu.
to. Well, it's all those things then. Yeah, it goes over to Noggs and puts the plate down in front of Noggs and says, "Your meal, Master Noggs. It's an honor to serve you this delicious meal this evening."
You kind of hear his tick-tocking heart just below the sounds of the rest of the officers conversing over their wine. Cross responds, "Yes, well, it's very good. I've not seen the likes of you before. You better not have poisoned my dish. That'd be a shame, eh?"
No. No poison, sir.
A little poison is good.
I even
Maybe.
tasted it myself to ensure it was safe for consumption.
Nah, I'm sure you're a good sort. And he slaps you on the back, probably too hard.
She's pretty. I think he's probably surprised at how robust she is. She doesn't really buckle. She's pretty firm standing.
Pretty firm lady.
She's pretty. I
That's
think
how
he's
he
pretty.
likes them.
He can watch himself.
You
Yes.
hiss like a cat. In it by instinct, on instinct.
Beautiful. Yes.
Yes.
I think my Crowe. I think I haven't described. I mean, no one else has described what they do here, but I think they would also calculate that they would like to do their loaded card tricks for Wesley Sly, the steward.
Wester Sly.
Wester Sly, the steward.
But Wesley
right.
is better.
Wesley
I do prefer
Wester Snipes.
Yeah, I was going
that. Wesley.
Yes.
Yes,
The cooler vampire
this would like
who's
to
not in this film.
assist Myre Crowe in this action. Having had the foresight to know that Myre Crowe would undoubtedly put his efforts into sucking up to the most, sort of, not the most senior, but the balance of the most senior and the most accessible people in the room. And ensured that Mr. Sly had just that little bit extra trance powder added to his meal, and therefore would hopefully be most amenable to Myre Crowe's tricks.
Yeah. He's also the most cushy job on the ship that he wants.
So as the first round of food is served, they all start kind of tucking in, and I guess this is when you kind of deploy your cards. to Wester. He's kind of changed his manner. He's very much like indulging now. You know, he's pushed this responsibility on you, and he's indulging in that. Yes, and what do you have for me?
Doesn't sound like he's changed. It sounds like he's still got a stick up his ass.
That's just Wester Sly. I would like a roll if you're doing magic tricks.
He hiccups. Okay.
Okay.
They are fine. Wait, let me double check that. I might be lying.
Be fine.
They're fine. Yes, fine trick cards.
The playing cards.
Well, it says you can choose between fine loaded dice, trick cards, or I think there's something else as well you can choose from.
So
let's see here. I have to learn about rolling abilities.
Uh-oh.
Don't forget that you're being assisted. Huh?
Yes, yes.
plus one die. No stress, because you've got the little spider ability there.
Yeah, well,
Foresight,
Baby.
well, I'm not rolling to play the cards. I don't think I care about what happens with the cards. Like, I don't mind if he wins or whatever. I think what I'm trying to do is get in his good graces and make a mark on him to be like, just to be like in his mind, basically. When he thinks about someone, like, oh, I need someone to do a clerky, boring job. It's like, really, that's not going to get me thrown in the sea with the chum. So I would like to roll sway.
Yeah. Sure.
Bosh, and that's how you be a PC.
So what are you trying to do with the cards? You playing him in a game, or are you kind of doing a magic trick, or?
Yeah, I think it's just like close up magic stuff, like pick a card, any card kind of thing. I'm
Nice.
sure he hasn't seen it before.
Yeah, I'm sure you've got some, you've got a large variety of tricks up your sleeve. Yeah. Should we say, what's the consequence of you fucking this up?
To, like, make him dislike me more.
Yeah, I think that's, probably
Yeah. It's a social consequence.
the.
Yeah.
Well, you suffer stress because you you really want to impress them.
I think someone like Crowe would probably suffer sort of psychological harm if their sort of ass kissing failed to land.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it could be, level 1 harm could be on a risky consequence.
Oh, shame. Feels bad.
Level 1
Yes.
harm, ass not kissed successfully.
But I do have my ability. I can expend my special armor to resist consequence of
I knew you
persuasion.
would take that one.
So guess what? Level 1 harm doesn't affect me.
See, it's cool when you do it.
Nice. Go for when you got fine. Go for a risky great.
Oh.
That's up from standard, isn't it?
Aye. Oh, and I get a bonus die from the assist. 3 dice. Let's have it. Okay. So it's a
Success is a consequence.
Yes.
Um,
So can I just? Do you mind if I give my idea for a consequence?
yeah. Could you
Yeah.
just outline what you're maybe what you're doing?
Yeah. So
I know you just said you're showing him a game.
yeah. So I'm
Playing him in the
I'm
game.
doing that, and I do it maybe a couple of times, and he sort of, picks the right answer. He's like, oh yes, jolly good, very impressive. And I say, and I lean into him probably like a bit too closely, and I say, Master Sly, I was hoping that if you ever had any jobs or duties for someone to assist you in your quarters with your clerk work and your stewardship. I very humbly that you think of your friend Mark Crowe first, above all other sailors. I am, after all my experience in my previous life as working in an office and clerk work, and I think that convinces him that's the great effect. But I think the consequence is he Sly sees him kind of like shudder and then snap to one side and be like, "No, mother, won't tell him about that." "Oh, sorry, Master Sly," and that just freaks him out.
Yeah, I think at that last pick specifically, he's a bit taken aback.
I thought he'd be taken aback at your offer of giving him stewardship in his quarters. Would be the thing that might put him off.
It's on a ship.
Very experienced.
With his wet hands. The cards are wet. Right. Yeah, I think Wester would reply, well, yes, I do have a lacking of suitable hands around me, and it would be fitting for me to have more artisanal company. Maybe you can show me a few more games in our downtime, in my quarters. I expect you round sharp at noon tomorrow. And he takes a sip of his wine, studying you in your wet hands, your wet dripping cards.
I'm holding up my amber like consent card right now. This is not. I'm not completely comfortable with this.
Yeah, he starts
This
softening.
strange sort of power dynamic and chemistry between DM PC and PC, played by brothers. Neither of the characters being portrayed as like pleasant or attractive. It's just.
Oh, it doesn't
There's
turn you
something-
on, so that's not doesn't get your consent.
Yeah, well, quite exactly. That is the only sexual relationship that's allowed. Is one that turns me as the audience on.
Yeah.
Look, this is not a Baldur's Gate fucking fantasy RPG. This is
You've got a guy with tentacle face though.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is fucking
I like
Pirates of
that.
the Caribbean.
a wet, dark, grotty ship.
Yes.
Yeah, he's not got soaking wet hands. He's not like a Pirates of the Caribbean crewman, where he's
Stop
constantly
that.
dripping.
There's doubloons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, as the evening draws on, there's definitely a hubbub. There's definitely everyone's enjoying themselves. They're getting more drunk and high. I think you can even see the captain kind of like, his eyes rolling back to the back of his head, and he's, experiencing some play in his mind of some past voyage, some past, something that was noted in the papers.
That's the effect that great food can have on you.
Doesn't
I wonder how
isn't that something to do with like the ghost field and stuff? Like, isn't it like really good at making you attune better?
I don't remember that
it's
particularly from.
In the book, it simply says that it results in
glittering
a calm, suggestible mental state similar to hypnotism.
I'm
but
thinking
hoping
of
that they'll
Pleasant
be
hypnotic trance.
I'm
pleasantly
thinking of
influenced by us.
Okay, decent.
So yeah, Tiet has spent a lot of time as well, kind of, yes, less seductively than those two, but definitely trying to get on the good side of the old slobbering blob. Obviously, she's trying to work her way into the kitchen, into the butcher's. So she's kind of been telling him, her skills and her passion and ability to harvest Leviathan meat, which he has no experience yet, but is just desperate to get into that kind of butcher's quarters and be assigned the butcher.
I think you'd be interested in hearing your tales of being a captain and your previous voyages.
Just
As
one,
these-
a final point on the. Sorry, I didn't realise.
Go on.
It's okay. On the meal, as the plates being cleared away and everyone settles into the after dinner chat, Phinneas emerges from the kitchen with the finest glass he could find, just a single one, and a fine bottle of whiskey from his personal stores, and just saunters over and pours a glass just for the captain. And says, "I hope you enjoyed your meal, sir. Just a little. What's the operative? An aperitif? Just a little digestif for the captain. Good fortune to the crew and all that.
Is this
fine
a
vintage?
Oh,
Dalmor.
is this a Clan McFarclas? Oh, you say, and when did you get this vintage from?
I'm ever so impressed you noticed, sir. I have a small collection of whiskey at home. Just a little something, you know. Makes all the hard work just that bit more worth it, wouldn't you say, sir?
Well, undoubtedly. I think a man of my stature would only be drinking this fine liquor in the presence of his great officers. Would you do the honours? He gestures to pour the other officers at the table a glass each.
Oh, absolutely, of course, sir. I merely wish to bring you the bottle for the first tasting. You'd be more than welcome to share it with your officers. Mr. Crowe, perhaps you could fetch us all some glasses.
Oh, of course.
And fill it up by the dram.
No one here probably knows Phinneas well enough to notice how much this displeases him. But no, maybe Crowe would.
I was going to say maybe there's someone who's like says very loudly, "Oh, I don't really like whiskey very much usually, but I'll drink it. Can I have it with a Coke?"
Bring out the lemonade. Fuckers.
And Phinneas then pours everyone a generous measure.
I think Wester Sly has a soda in his head. Fucking Wester.
Phinneas notes that if he sees anyone bastardizing his whiskey, that he also has a vial of slumber essence in his pocket for when he needs it, and also a palm pistol. And anyone caught putting coke in his whiskey is gonna have a short voyage.
Maybe that's what happened on our training.
Wouldn't have to have any spare.
Oh yes, can we say that it
electroplasm
is
about your
though?
prison.
Sorry, Alex.
No. I didn't realise I was on a delay. I didn't mean to cut in.
You're all good.
Oh, I'm on a mega delay. Fuck me, Jesus. Okay, fine. Jangles just said.
Oh, don't suppose any of you fine fellas have any electroplasm for a poor mechanical man?
He's sort of looking mournfully at all the living beings drinking nice drinks.
The only electroplasm we have is in the tanks of our fine vessel, and that is to fuel the engines. You will not be touching any of that.
Well, that's a shame, Captain, because I might just stop working then at some point. But I'm sure your quartermaster will sort me out somehow.
Who brought this monkey on board?
That's an ape, sir. That's an ape. Thank you.
I also like they have monkeys and apes now in this world.
It's canon.
Yeah.
It's a Dagger Isle thing.
Yeah, probably.
Apes are in the Dagger Isles. It's canon.
Yeah. It's very jungly.
Indeed. Very well. And I think as the hours pass, everyone's still very amused. But the entertainment. I think Stavros states, wasn't I promised some sort of entertainment with my dinner?
Yeah, kind of clicks her fingers at Jangles, who's been trying to socialize like a real human, but kind of gives him a bit of a
Yeah, stop begging, Jangles. Do your
come on,
dance.
dance, monkey.
Stop begging for
right.
your life essence and dance.
Yeah, can the engineering officer like throw him like a capsule of ectoplasm and be like, dance, monkey, dance. There you go. That's what you want, isn't it?
Holds a vial to the light, to the chandelier. Is this what you want? You'll have to dance.
Do you want it?
Yeah, so Jangles does go like if there's some sort of raised area, like a stage for
There's a
briefings
stage.
or whatever. Jangles will go up there, and everyone's sort of assuming, given his previous feat of acrobatics, that's what's going to happen here. And instead, he like taps on his sort of neck, or like the kind of metal area at the bottom of his head and where his neck should be, and you hear like the sound of like someone tapping on a mic to see if it's on, and like a kind of squeal of like interference from a mic, and it's really awkward because the room's kind of silent and there's a horrible screeching noise. And then Jangles goes into the worst type 5 of stand-up comedy you've ever heard. Like I'm not even going to roll because he doesn't have any pips in consort or sway. I'm just going to say, narratively declare that this is the worst comedy you've ever heard. It's
Wow.
like half-remembered anecdotes from being like the ship's doctor, but none of it really makes sense because his whole memories are just not really there anymore. So like he misses the punchline on one of them and goes straight into the next one. Like there isn't a single laugh. And then yeah, he like drops this kind of half finished punchline on the final joke. And it's just complete like crickets. And a few seconds pass, and then you hear this sort of mechanical sighing noise, and you see Jangles just sort of sag on his long bandy arms and legs, and then he just does some really fucking weird acrobatics instead, and like just starts jumping about the stage, doing like triple backflips and shit. Does another trick on the what are they called, chandeliers, and finishes off with like a triple backflip spin and tuck that lands on the captain's shoulders.
Tiet's a bit
Brilliant.
mortified and kind of.
Sweet.
Oh, they like it, do they?
Well, I was
This is
gonna mention, as they're all fairly boozed and trance powdered, I would have thought that they would have found more or less anything funny.
Wow.
But maybe the complete
Not this
train
time.
wreck of the comedy wasn't in itself. Maybe they just think actually that's just part of the comedy. The joke was that he's just, a depressing robot comedian monkey. They're all
It's
pretty
so
high.
bad, it's good. Like the producers.
Exactly. They're loving it. Springtime for Stavral Dalmor.
Yeah.
Fucking love the producers, man.
Does Jangles just do a whole show and dance?
He does a whole like open mic stream of consciousness about how shit like Leviathan hunters' families are. Like, the captain loves it.
You know how Leviathan hunters' wives are all really shit at driving carriages. All of them. They're all so shit. And they should just leave it to the Leviathan hunters, right?
That's like the only joke in the set that gets one laugh, and it's just from the captain, who's a massive misogynist.
Yeah, I think he's like slamming the table in laughter. Tentacles moving erratically,
Writhing
as
in
they do.
ecstasy.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
The trance powder has him in a place of ecstasy.
Olly's come to this game with a weird energy, I've got to say. By comparison to the usual.
I think I'm getting some bleed into my character. He's just a very weird guy. Weird, slimy guy.
I like it. He is literally slimy.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, with that performance, the night draws to a close. They're all very happy. They're all very merry. I think you've done a very fine job indeed there. As they all kind of make their way out, they kind of, straggle behind each other, and they're kind of, pretty drunk, still pretty high, full of delicious meats and mushroom and wine, plus the lovely vintage whiskey that Phinneas was maybe regretfully pouring up by the end. They all kind of dawdle back to their quarters, and I think Wester kind of has a word with Perkins, and Perkins kind of meets you outside or in the kitchen after. He's like, "Well, sirs and mums, I think you've done a very good job. I think a very fine job indeed. The officers are very happy with that display. The monkey, what an extravagant idea, bringing that aboard for their pleasure.
That's an 8, sir. That's an 8.
A great idea indeed. Very finely prepared food, sirs. I feel like you can go and tuck yourselves away into your quarters and pat yourselves on the back, sirs."
Why does this remind me of the Blackadder 2? Like, and you're a jester. Very funny, very funny.
Because he is. They all dawdle off, do they? Everyone kind of.
Yeah, and I think Perkins leans into Myre Crowe, and he's like, "Wester Sly did lend his compliments to you, sir. You're playing cards, and you kept him very well entertained. He's mentioned for you to meet him tomorrow at some point. I'm sure he's got some duties for you and whatnot. Maybe more than he has for me."
No,
Yes,
I wouldn't say that, Mr. Perkins. I shall make sure we share our duties. That isn't till I outrank you. But very have a good night. Yes.
Well, good luck with that. Yes, I can't even speak now, sir. I'm lost for words. That was a bit weird. Anyway, sir, good night. Back to your quarters with you. Have a good one. Take care. He makes his way. He just kind of backs off into the doorway, and off he is. And there you go. Bosh, that's your first duty done.
Score done.
Fucking
Down.
nailed it.
Whew.
Right, XP. You get some. You get some. You get some.
Yeah. I did indulge. I did indulge. No, I didn't. What? No. What's the phrase? It's not indulging vice, is it?
Yes.
Referenced.
It's struggled with
Ah.
Oh yeah.
issues from your
struggled with.
vice.
Yes.
Yeah, my vice is an obligation to my mother, who is actually a ghost now, and so he talks to her sometimes because he thinks she's there.
I
Nice.
like that when you turn to her after talking to Wester.
Yeah.
If you weren't weird enough, you have to talk to the ghost's mother that appears.
But I think everybody thinks, because he talks about her sometimes, references. I think everyone thinks she's alive back home in Duskfall,
Sure.
but they don't know that he's actually talks to a ghost.
Nice. But yeah, that was session 1. I suppose it might be a bit longer than a one shot, maybe 1 or 2 more sessions.
That wasn't the whole thing. Making dinner.
Yeah, I thought this was a tavern simulator, but just on a ship.
/
Look.
overcooked.
I selected that one because I thought it'd be nice to introduce you to the officers.
Yeah, sure.
Be a nice
I like
way,
it.
nice little intro.
It is a good
I like it.
icebreaker, low stakes score.
I thought it was good.
And it doesn't make sense for you to be fighting Leviathan spawn when the ship's just departed after the first day, I suppose.
Spoilers.
I mean, there's a bunch of other duties which are more violent, more scary, and all that. So we'll get into them next time. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. I thought
Yeah,
it
it's
was
a
pretty
cool,
tasty.
cool cast of characters.
Very much so.
There was a
Proper
few
social
parts
store.
where I was a bit. What do I do now? Remember what to do?
No, it was all good.
But yeah, I think pacing was generally pretty good. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it
Definitely.
was good.
Nice.
It was good. I think we're gonna have a weird Phinneas Crowe dynamic forming of who can ingratiate themselves the most, but slightly differently. Maybe it turns into a rivalry or a tag team affair. I'm not really sure which.
Yeah, that's true. I've got the special armor.
No, you've spent it, mate.
I enjoy that I'm trying to play a serious character. Everyone else decided to just become goofballs for the entire thing.
Not a goofball.
I'm not a goofball. I'm a slime ball,
Yeah, same
got
thing.
and he's a fur ball.
that.
No, he's not furry.
Yeah.
There's a lack of hair.
Has he
Just
got,
electroplasm embers.
has he got metal jangly balls?
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Oh,
Titty
dear.
bow jangles.
Yeah.
Is there a titty bar on the ship? That's to be discovered.
And
Is-
if not, can Phineas make it his quest to set one up?
Well, of course. I'm sure you can turn the crew commons into some sort of debauchery area, pub.
I might read the book now because it's Is there like, cause the whole not cruise, the whole voyage is kind of the thing you repeat, right?
What's that?
So like instead of having like score, downtime, free time, blah blah blah, the whole voyage of going and doing a hunt is like one whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like you depart, you make your way. It's called underway, that part of the adventure. So this is what we're doing now. You're underway to the Leviathan hunting area. After you've done several duties underway, you'll start looking for Leviathan sign. And that's gonna lead into Leviathan spawn and whatnot. You're hunting them, finding them, and then finding the Leviathan. The hunt starts. So on and so forth. Do that, get the material. You voyage back, unload it at the refinery, and then go back straight to Duskfall. But yeah, I might cut out the refining bit. I'm not sure. See how we go. But yeah, I don't mind doing 2 more of these if you guys are enjoying it.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah.
I don't think it should be much longer than that. If it is,
That's good.
we've got more time to come up with whatever thing we're doing next.
Absolument.
Nice. Lovely.
Nice. Well,
I'm glad.
thanks, Jim.
Yeah, well, GM.
Thank you.
I just found that my fucking mic had been muted for I don't know how long.
Thought you'd been silent.
Oh,
I've been saying stuff. Anyway, yeah, that was well good. Thanks, Jim. How long's it been since you GM'd, by the way?
Fucking hell. Maybe more than 7 years.
Whoa.
Oh, that's been a few years, to be fair.
I think I
gosh,
was
that
at
is-
school.
Goal break.
Yeah, I think I was at school when I DM'd last. So yeah, like 8 years ago.
Yeah, you've done like a D&D one shot for I was part of as well before.
Yeah, and then I did like a Star Wars Prison break for my friends, but that went awfully. So I'm happy with how this went.
Me too. Great, man. Natural.
Good job, mate.
I think I thought there was going to be more action rolls, so I was kind of looking for action rolls to do. But as you kind of said, Ollie, I don't think you don't have to force them if like the narrative is just like flowing, right? So
Yeah, I thought would like to kind of try to command the butcher a bit more to try and get my way with him. Maybe that's still to come. Maybe I'll try and keep that in mind to get where I want.
Yeah. Usually, like in the book, it's got a good example of kind of the action role conversation, and it's usually players saying they're doing stuff, and then when the GM thinks it needs to be an action role, they will say, "It sounds like you want to do an action role,"
It's usually when you come across an obstacle of some sort where you need to do an action.
Yeah, well, there's a chance
Um,
of a consequence of failure, kind of thing.
Yeah. But I thought I enjoyed it because there's a lot of just like free flow and RP. I thought that was quite cool. Nice.
Maybe we should get that like tavern simulator game.
Yes.
Well, we're already very experienced.
Nice.
had to make Perkins appear.
Of course.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Multiverse.
I introduced him as Percy though. Yep, Percy. Yep.
It could be his like.
Well, I thought it was
second-
like a bait and switch.
Mm.
Like you were deliberately teasing us that it wasn't actually Perkins, but it was nearly Perkins.
Yeah, an Elseworlds Perkins. Perskins.
He dies and the spirit is Perkins.
That's it.
Perkins is haunting you. Shit! Should have had Perkins as a ghost.
You could be the ghost of the hole.
There are worse
It
ghosts.
was very last minute. I realised I needed someone to kind of get you from wherever you are to the quest giver, so to say. So I was like, who's better than
Maybe like-
Perkins?
Who's better than Perkins?
Exactly.
Lovely.
All right, guys.
Lovely.
Fun.
Chat soon.
Thank you very much for coming.
No,
It was
pleasure.
a pleasure.
Pleasure.
Cheers, Lawrie. And
Yeah, that was good. That was good fun.
See you next week.
See you next time.
GG's.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
gang.